I had to send Nick the meeting invite, so we'll just give him a minute to join. Wish the weather would warm up. Crazy.
Yeah, it would be nice.
We've had our pool open for like 2.5 weeks. Kind of cold.
Did you have a heater?
Yeah, I had mine open on April the 6th because it, was getting too much algae in it. So I think it's gotten colder since then, and instead of warmer. I refuse to heat it. Still too cold.
Yeah.
Besides, I don't swim. Yeah.
Oh no.
just my wife swims. Right.
Oh yeah. Well, our dog uses it probably more than any of us, so
oh, that's
he's
great.
Happy. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
He's in it all the time.
I should see if the cats swim. Oh, no, it's not very nice.
Yeah, probably won't go over well. All right. So I don't see Bill. Let's just a second. All right. I think everybody is joined and we are live streaming now. So we can get started and then Bill can join in if he's able to. So we'll get started. Thanks everyone for joining our regular Police Service Board meeting, Tuesday, May 11th. We will start out with roll call. So everyone is in attendance with the exception of Bill Unger. Any disclosure of interest this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Confirmation of agenda. Any issues, additions? Okay, seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
Yes, that the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the May 11th, 2021 agenda as presented.
All right, can I get someone to move that, please? Toby and Pete to second. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you. All right, and adoption of the minutes from April 1st, the 6th, and the 13th of 2021. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the April 1st, the 6th, and the 13th of 2021 minutes as written.
All right. Could I get someone to move? Okay, Toby and second Jack. And any questions, concerns with the minutes as presented? Okay, and then all in favor? Okay, and that is carried. Thank you. There are no delegations this evening. So we will move into the unfinished business, Police Service Board policies. Nothing to update at this time. So moving on, new business, there's none. So we can start to move into reports. So I will present. Give me just a second here. Just give me a second for this. Let's see. Right here. Okay. All right. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sirree.
All right. Okay. So we will start with first item. Chief, if you want to go ahead, I'll try to make this a little bigger. Okay.
Okay, yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I'll start off with the trial balance. There is nothing that causes me any concerns with respect to the budget at the trial balance level. We're at 28% spent, which is 1% below what we had last year. And certainly everything is on target there in terms of where we want to be. There's some alterations to the building that we're at 111%. Again, a lot of that is as a result of the grant that we received for upgrading our interview room, make it more user-friendly for the victims of crime. And that's all been that's all recoverable under the provincial grant that Charity and Nick put together. So I have no concerns there. Moving into the police budget, same thing, no real concerns. You will see we are at, I think it's, again, as far as the equipment is concerned, we're over budget there, but again, a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're upgrading our system here to make our room more user-friendly, and also target harden the building and change some of the old equipment for recording purposes. That's all been changed to new system, and again, that's all been done under the grant money as opposed to anything that we would have budgeted for. So in actual fact, we're well ahead of the game there when it comes to upgrading our systems at zero cost to the taxpayers in Aylmer. You'll see a significant amount of money that has been already raised from record checks. We're at 110% already this year. We budgeted 2,500 and we actually took in 2,700 so far. The big reason for that, I believe, is because of the online record checks. A lot of people are utilizing that feature, and certainly that generates the revenue for us. So we're definitely going to be much higher than what we predicted we're going to have for revenue under record checks. So again, that's good from my standpoint. The other anomaly that you'll see is the cost of courses. And again, the reason for that is basically we had an officer that is taking up sex assault investigations, and also in line with the covert computer technology in courses involving cybercrime and also child pornography. She's actually in Ottawa this week and next week for a 2-week course, which is a follow-up to a 1-week course that she already attended in March. So that's where you see that tuition fee as high as it is. But again, a lot of that is recoverable through that grant money that we received in January of 2021. So those are the only two anomalies that I really see that would cause me some concerns. But again, they're not, simply because of the fact that it's all recoverable through the grant money. On the Police Services Board side, again, nothing unusual there. We're at 37% spent. Association fees, I guess, whatever that caused us a huge difference there or whatever, but again, at 37%, we're not too bad. Any questions on the budget?
If anyone has any questions, just go ahead, because I can't see when I'm sharing. So any questions?
No.
Okay.
Okay, moving into the crime report, starting with crime prevention, Crime Stoppers. We had 3 tips for the month of April, 6 so far this year. So it's nice to see people actually calling in Crime Stoppers tips. We're actually 3 ahead of last year. So again, people have, you know, they're a little bit more open to calling in Crime Stoppers. So that's good for us. And obviously the officers are assigned to do a follow-up on all of those. DVI and high-risk meetings, Nick and I have attended all of those so far this year. They're once a month, so we have a total of 4. Community events, again, because of COVID, we're not really engaging officers with too many community events, hence the reason that there's such a disparity between last year and this year. Foot patrol hours, we're still encouraging the officers to engage in that. We had 43 incidents recorded of foot patrol for a total of 41.25 hours for the month of April. And that certainly puts us well ahead of what we had last year in terms of hours. Bicycle patrols, park patrols, they still continue to cause us some grief with respect to the damage being caused in the park. So we have just actually this week created a focused patrol for the parks, and the officers are going to be paying more attention to make sure that illegal activities are not going on there in terms of emergency orders, and then also the vandalism portion of it as well. As far as the bike patrols, we are going to be training hopefully another officer to utilize the bike, so that way 2 officers will be trained, and hopefully our hours will increase for 2021 year. Criminal charges, we had 10 adults charged for a total of 26 for the year, 2 youth. Drug investigations, 2 for the month of April. Both have been solved by way of charge. 911s and assists. We had 27 calls for assistance, 18 hang-ups. So far we have 57 hang-ups, which again is kind of creeping up a little bit compared to last year when we had 44. And most of those again are misdials. People happen to hit the wrong button, and it sets off the 911 call for assistance. Sex assaults, no issues there. We only had 1 so far this year. It's been cleared by a charge. Violent crime rates, we had 1 for the month of April. It's been solved. Actually, our clearance rates have been improved significantly over last year. So far this year, we had 10 violent crimes or crimes against persons. 9 have been solved for a 90% clearance rate in comparison to last year when we were right around 56% or 57%. No issues with the reports that are required under the ministry for SOR, VI-Class, and MCM. Property crime had good success this month as far as the clearance rates. We had 10 incidents reported. 4 have been cleared by charge for a 40% clearance rate. So far this year, our numbers have really decreased significantly over last year in terms of property crime. So far, we've had 29 incidents. 6 have been cleared by charge for a 20.7% clearance rate. And last year, we had 82 incidents in 17 cleared. So a significant reduction in that area. Schools, nothing to report there. Simply, there is nothing going on right now with the school, so the officers are not engaged in that. We're trying to do some online or like virtual VIP delivery. That's been a challenge simply because schools, some students are in, others are not. So it's a bit of a challenge for us. Trouble with youth, good report there. We only had 1 for the month of April, 4 for the year so far, so that is good. Situation table meetings, I attended 4, 16 so far, and we have no situation so far this year. Unsolved follow-ups, 47 for the month of April, for a total of 263. Charges with respect to the provincial offenses and criminal code. We had 43 traffic, 1 liquor, and 30 other charges, which includes emergency order breaches. So far, we're at 278 traffic charges, 6 liquor, and 97 other, which is on par with what we've had last year. So good work being done by the officers, even though we're in the challenging times. In total, we also laid 23 criminal code charges in relation to those 10 persons that have been arrested or charged with a criminal offense. Road safety, we scaled down the ride checks simply because of COVID issues. The officers only conducted 2 ride checks, 100 vehicle stops, 2 HDA warnings. We did have 1 HDA charge and 1 test was done by the officers on the road. Impaired driving, we did have 2 impaired drivers for a total of 9 this year. I believe 1 was an impaired by drug and the other one by alcohol. Prisoners processed, we had 7 males, 3 females, no youth. All 10 have been released. Training courses, we had 3 in-service training to keep up with the mandated block to make sure officers are up to speed in terms of their use of force and defensive tactics. And legislative updates. So far, we had 5 officers complete their in-service, 1 officer on the course, and total hours is 368. 1 EAP that I initiated for the officers. It's certainly available to them to deal with stress management. That's also done online. We had a total of 6 officers who requested the training. So once they complete that, I requested feedback to see if it's worthwhile, and then hopefully the other officers will engage in it as well. Budget I already talked about. Sorry, we're at 26% this year in comparison to 28% last year. So again, I have absolutely no concerns with the way we're heading as far as the budget is concerned. Total number of calls for the month of April is 247. 6 traffic enforcements. We did have 5 mental health calls for service, 5 collisions, 6 domestics, and 5 OPP assists. Platoon A and B, members involved in the theft of a motor vehicle investigation where the accused was apprehended and charges were laid. And obviously, both platoons, A and B, C and D, have been engaged and involved to some degree with emergency order breaches. From the admin side, Nick and I obviously completed all the year-end grant funding reports that were required by the ministry. They've all been sent away, and ongoing operational plans are completed on a weekly basis regarding Church of God activities. And Nick has also been engaged with liaison as a officer for the Attorney General's office on an ongoing basis there. So that's my report, Madam Chair, unless you have any, or anybody has any questions.
Any questions on that?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have a few through you to Chief Swanko. The emergency order charges, where do those numbers appear in your report? Do they appear under criminal charges, or just trying to see the numbers that you currently have on emergency order charges?
Yeah, I don't specifically have them listed as emergency order charges. I can certainly do that. It's pretty easy to do because we do track that for the province and also for our own information. But they are listed as, first of all, they are a provincial offense type of a charge. It's not a criminal charge, other than the ones that were totally separate, you know, because of circumstances where people have been charged criminally at these events. But they are listed under provincial charge category under other. And there has been quite a few for the month of April.
Yeah, I don't think we need to list them separately. What is the total number? Do you have that on hand, the total number of charges, the emergency order charges?
I don't have that specifically. I would have to look into that. But the total number of other charges is, I believe, 30 for the month of April, and I can tell you that probably majority of those. Yeah, so we had 30 other charges, and I can almost guarantee you that probably about 25 of those have been related to emergency order breaches.
Okay. So that's just for the month of April, you're saying?
Right.
Right. So the total amount would, I don't know if you had to do an estimate, would it approach 100 or less or?
I would say that conservatively speaking, I would say since the start, we're well over 100.
Okay. Okay, I just want to make a comment on that while we're on the topic. You know, there are other places in Ontario where church services are breaking the law, besides in Aylmer, of course. And, you know, police services everywhere are kind of challenged as what you're going to do with the number of lawbreakers. Many people across the province are kind of questioning why police services don't ticket or charge everyone, and certainly this is the case here. Can you walk us through your thinking and your policy in dealing with the church, dealing with these emergency order charges?
Yeah, so I mean, we have attempted to do that on one occasion where I think the total number was just over 40 that we laid the charge on. The challenge with that is you have to look at that investigation after the fact, because simply put, and other services are, I mean, it's the same challenge. It's different if, for example, you have an outdoor event where you have 10 or 15 people present, and the officers can sort of deal with those 10 or 15 people. But when you have in excess of 200, there's just no way that you can issue at the time that this is occurring, or as they're exiting the parking lot, that we can stop every one of those individuals and lay the charge. Simply put, our focus right now is on those that are actively involved in organization of the event and that are actively participating in delivering the message at the service. And we're also issuing Part 3 summonses versus the $880 ticket with an understanding that it's the severity of a Part 3. It carries a much larger, or theoretically, it should carry a much larger penalty if convicted. So that's why we're sort of focusing on those individuals that are basically the majority of the problem.
Right.
I mean, without them organizing these things, they wouldn't be happening. So you sort of have to look at it from that perspective. And I think pretty much every other service in Ontario is approaching this the same way, because physically it's pretty difficult to stop 200 vehicles and give everybody a $880 ticket.
Right. That's right. I was looking at the various news reports, and the other places in Ontario, the police are doing pretty much the same kind of thing that you're doing, is that you can't absolutely ticket everybody or charge everybody. So you pick the people that are most responsible. So thank you for that answer. One further one, if I may, and further on, I think you deal with the town emergency management meetings that you attend on a regular basis. The town emergency man, did they discuss the emergency order charges at all with you? Is there anything there that happens in those emergency meetings that deal with this situation?
Well, we bring them up to speed as far as how we're dealing with the situation. What obviously with the senior level management that's in those meetings, we are discussing high level things that the police are dealing with, and what our plans are, and how we're handling it. Certainly also from the citizens' complaints and also the media inquiries. It is an operational matter that's the responsibility of the police. So we're in liaison with the senior management just to make sure that everybody's on the same page when it comes to any kind of inquiries regarding emergency order breaches. And as far as the operations of the police service, obviously the Police Services Board nor the council and the mayor cannot dictate to us how to handle the operations of the service. And quite frankly, to be honest with you, some of the other services that are experiencing the same issues are reaching out to us because we have been dealing with this particular group for an extended period of time. It's seeking advice on how we're handling the situation down here. So it's a pretty shared information with other services in looking at best practices across the province on these things.
All right, and we are doing best practices, obviously. All right, thank you very much for the answer.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? All right. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the just the charts. There's nothing really unusual. Violent crime is significantly down. We only had 9 so far this year, which is good. Same thing with property crime. The trends are significantly lower than last year. Same thing with drugs. There's nothing really that domestic violence looks like we are likely going to exceed that this year. And again, part of that grant money was to deal with the domestic violence and have the officer engaged in liaison with the victims and making sure that everything is in place to as a preventative measure, and also as a target hardening to avoid recidivism. MVCs, nothing unusual there. Everything is good. 911s, they're sort of starting to creep up a little bit. We're at 57 so far this year. Last year we had 138 total for the year, so we'll monitor that and see if we can do another media blitz on that to prevent those. Foot patrol hours, no issues there. Mental Health Act, 8 so far this year, and again, Nadine, the mental health worker, is actively engaged with community to try to get the resources to those that need it. And that's it for the crime trends. In terms of my activities for the month of April, obviously situation table every week, Southwest Public Health. I participated in the teleconference on the 15th of April just to sort of bring them up to speed as far as what the Elgin County is doing and some of the other counties and what we're doing. We had a emergency management team meeting on the 7th of April, obviously discussing the COVID issues. Same thing with Elgin County meeting on the 9th of April. On the 12th of April, Nick and I participated with a new body that has been developed by the province, Inspector General's office, and had a really good discussion with them in terms of what their mandate is and how they can help us, and certainly how we can help them. So it was a good meeting, and then been quite involved with obviously the Church of God media interviews on the 21st, 23rd, and the 26th of April. No other issues in terms of operations. We did hire a part-time officer, and we do have a recruit who started today actually at OPC, and anticipating to be finished sometime in August and on the road to replace one officer that left. ODOE, no issues there. And my monthly activities, looks like it got cut off here, but nothing unusual there. A few times I've been asked to back up for the officers due to shortages in courses, and that's been working out well with Nick and I. The board has requested that I break down the OPP assist for the first quarter. We had a total of 26 assists to OPP. As you can tell on the left column, it talks about what type of calls we assisted with. Mostly, obviously, the most notable ones is a traffic complaint where they receive a complaint and it's forwarded on to us. 2 domestic investigations and information on stolen vehicles. We had 4 of those. Any questions on that at all? And then reciprocating, we had 1 call where they assisted us, and that was a breath test.
I just want to say thank you for providing that information.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll provide that report to the board on a quarterly basis. I think based on the numbers, I think that would be a much more beneficial report for you as opposed to on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Agreed. Any questions on any of the reports from A to H for the chief? Okay, seeing none. Bobby, do you have a resolution, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts report items A to H of the May 11th, 2021 agenda.
All right. Okay, mover.
So moved.
Okay, seconder. All right, Toby and all those in favor? And no opposed. That is carried. Thank you very much. And then we have 1 incoming correspondence, and it is about the OAPSB Spring Conference. And of course, it's all online this year, so that information is available if there's some interest in that. And we don't need a resolution for that, I don't believe. Bobby?
Through the chair, we can do one just to record that. Sure. We did accept that, if you like.
Yeah.
Okay, that the Aylmer Police Service Board adopts correspondence item A of the May 11th, 2021 agenda.
Okay, and mover, Toby, seconded by Pete, and all in favor. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have no closed session this evening. So our next item is, next meeting date is June 8th, unless there's anything that comes up in the meantime. So one last item, Bobby, sorry.
Yeah, that the Aylmer Police Services Board does now adjourn at 6:02 p.m.
Great. And
so moved.
Move and seconder, Toby, and all those in favor. And that is carried. Thank you very much. Have a great night, and we'll see you at the next meeting.
Yes. Good
Thanks,
night,
guys.
everyone.
Have a good night.
Take care, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.